Hey all, and welcome to Shadow of Space, and we're commenting on another BCP video. This one is titled, Woke Police Chief Flees State After Democrat Mayor Betrays Him Despite Bending the Knee to Mob. This is uploaded May 28th. This is being recorded May 29th, and link is in the description.
Somali community here in Minneapolis has been welcoming and has shown love towards me, and I appreciate it. Over the last 3 years, we have been working together to try and address some of the real serious problems that we have in our community. We have to be honest at times with the problems that we're having in our community, and we need our community to help us fix those problems together because it's real and it's serious. At the same time, if people have taken anything that I have said out of context in a way that's caused harm, I apologize and I'm sorry for that because that's not my intention at all.
All right, guys, so we got to talk about a somewhat interesting story out of Minneapolis, Minnesota, involving the woke mayor, Jacob Frey, and the woke former Minneapolis police chief, Brian O'Hara, who has now fled the state after being basically fired by Jacob Frey. Okay, he was given the option to resign or to be fired following an investigation into his conduct where he allegedly had inappropriate relations with some subordinates, right? People who work under him. He had inappropriate relations. And then after he was cleared of any wrongdoing in the initial investigation, another investigation found that he actually obstructed. Okay, he interfered in that investigation, which probably is the reason why the investigation cleared him in the first place.
Yep.
And now he's been let go. And I want to react to this story because I think it's a great example of how there is no loyalty within the Democrat Party at all. Okay, once you cross the line in the Democrat Party.
But he did it, right? I guess he obstructed.
They have no issues eliminating you, despite how much you debase yourself, right, in order to appease the far-left woke mob, right? Eventually, they will come for you if you cross the line. And that's basically what happened to this police chief who was hired in the first place because he's woke, right? During the wake of what was happening in the country with George Floyd, this dude was hired, and he has been nothing but a tool of the Democrat Party.
Folks that are masked, that they're not sure if they're law enforcement, that they may be kidnapping people. Like, we have had those reports. I want to be clear to the community. The community should know that if you see something like that, that is legitimate, that you don't know if someone is law enforcement, you should call 911. And you should provide as much information as possible, because let's not forget, we very recently had tragedy in this state by someone who was purporting to be law enforcement. So please, let's be clear. That's something everyone should report and that we will immediately respond to, and we will document, whether it's somebody's not sure if there's a kidnapping happening, somebody's not sure if that there's law
We may or may not do something about it, but we'll document that it happened.
Enforcement present or not. And that's something else that's additional policy
We'll
requirements
make a
that
note.
we are implementing, that we will document and report these types of things anytime that we hear it, and reminding our officers of their duty to intervene. So if there is anything that is, a violation of someone's human rights or civil rights, excessive force or anything like that, they absolutely have a duty to intervene as police officers. Well, I've seen the videos just as thousands of people around the country have, and the videos speak for themselves. I think it's deeply concerning, the things that are being said. This is an individual that was a city resident.
This is Minneapolis, right?
It appears that he was present.
The place where all this fraud is happening, and no one really seems to know that it's happening. Why am I surprised that the police chief is not happy about the fact that ICE is here snooping around?
Exercising his First Amendment rights to record law enforcement activity, and also exercising his Second Amendment rights to lawfully be armed in a public space in the city. So I think very obviously there are serious questions that are being raised, and I think the greater issue...
If you were in the middle of arresting someone, and I were to come up to you, and I were to start trying to shove you away from the person that you were arresting, would you try to stop me? Or would you listen to me and would you let the person that you were arresting try to go because I wanted you to?
Issue is, even if there is an investigation that ultimately proves that at the time of the shooting it was legally justified, I don't think that even matters at this point, because there is so much outrage and concern around what is happening in the city.
What do you mean it doesn't matter at this point? You mean the situation on the ground is already the
then
impression?
why is it that when police kill someone who commits a mass shooting, that's appropriate?
Is left.
People have had enough. This is the third shooting now in less than 3 weeks. The Minneapolis Police Department went the entire year last year recovering about 900 guns from the street, arresting hundreds and hundreds of violent offenders, and we didn't shoot
How many? Oh,
anyone. And now this is the second American citizen that's been killed. It's the third shooting within 3 weeks. People have been speaking out, saying that this was going to happen again. And I think everyone is kind of waiting for folks on both sides.
now I'm curious about the crime statistics, because this sounds like there isn't any crime ever, and he shouldn't even have a job. There's such little crime. I
To come
don't.
together and just figure this thing out. This is not sustainable. This police department has only 600 police officers. We are stretched incredibly thin. This is taking an enormous toll trying to manage.
Then why don't you petition for more staff? Why don't you petition for more money? Why do you advocate for defunding the police? Do you advocate for cutting funds from the police? Why would you do that when you know that there's a crisis in recruitment? Wouldn't you be asking for more money?
All of this chaos on top of having to be
Mysteries
the
abound.
police department for a major city. It's too much.
Yeah. So this is the same guy who debased himself, right? He became more of a political activist than an actual police chief, a law enforcement officer, because he basically tried to make excuses for domestic terrorism. He coddled the terrorist, and he did so at the behest of the Democrat Party, just for the Democrat Party ultimately to replace him, okay, with a woker police chief, while the woke revolutionaries still complained about the fact that Jacob Frey did not get rid of this guy soon enough.
Families had their lives changed last night.
Kenny Blackwell joined Minneapolis
If there's one thing that Democrats are quick to, it's stab you in the back.
Police 24 years ago, eventually becoming head of the training division, which is what put her on the witness stand. Kenny Blackwell
Stepping in
joined
as
Minneapolis
chief.
Police 24 years ago, eventually becoming head of the training division, which is what put her on the witness stand in Derek Chauvin's murder trial. She testified that Chauvin, keeping his knee on Floyd's neck, went against training. In a later book and documentary, former officers accused her of perjury, saying that was part of training. Blackwell sued for defamation, but that suit was dismissed by a judge on First Amendment issues. In 2023, Blackwell then became assistant chief under Brian O'Hara.
I have full confidence that she will provide stability, continuity, and strong leadership for the department during this transition.
For now, Blackwell is considered the acting chief. There's no indication if she has interest in the job long term. O'Hara was hired from New Jersey, an outside voice to bring reform into the MPD. Notably, the three chiefs before him all came from inside the department. The search now to replace him will again look both inside and out.
I also want to thank Interim Chief Katie Blackwell for stepping up into this new role. I look forward to working with her as the chair of this committee as we continue to move forward on public safety that matters to our residents.
Mayor Frey asking Brian O'Hara to resign is a symptom of a much larger problem, which is simply Mayor Frey continues to be unable to effectively manage the Minneapolis Police Department. And though Frey has deflected
It isn't his to manage.
mismanagement over
don't
MPD
think.
to one chief after another, as well as onto one safety commissioner after another, the blame for the department's continued instability lies within Mayor Frey himself. This is increasingly clear with the recent revelations about the investigations into O'Hara's conduct. The city's investigative report that Council President Payne referenced affirms that Mayor Frye knew that there were unanswered questions and pending investigations into Brian O'Hara when he renominated him to the city council just a few weeks ago. I hope Brian O'Hara's resignation serves as a wake-up call to Mayor Frye, and that he will stop deflecting to appointed leaders or telling residents that reform will come from his new flashy new nominee. Mayor Frye is the sole authority over MPD and has been since 2017. And MPD's failures are Mayor Frye's legacy. And in light of Brian O'Hara's resignation, I'm calling on Mayor Frye to finally take responsibility for MPD himself as voters elected him to do.
Yeah, so you're seeing that, you heard that. Now, let's learn a little bit more about
Why? If he does such a horrendous job of mismanaging the police department, why would you put him in charge of it? That doesn't make sense.
details that are coming out about this dude resigning. So without further ado, let's get into it.
Painful.
He's the last person I would want to actually
The decision I had to make
run it.
certainly was painful. It's the right decision.
Less than 24 hours after Minneapolis Police Chief Brian O'Hara resigned, we have learned he is no longer in the state, as Mayor Jacob Frye spent the day defending his decision to discipline the city's top cop for interfering.
Not even in the state? Where did he go?
In an investigation. Thanks for joining us at 5 on air and streaming live. I'm Julie Nelson.
And I'm Rena Sargentopoulos. Some shocking new details are coming to light tonight about what led up to the chief's sudden resignation, along with renewed calls for transparency.
And the shakeup adds even more uncertainty surrounding top leadership at City Hall. We have extensive team coverage tonight, including reaction from City Council and the community. But we begin with the investigation itself. Our Lou Raguse sat down with the mayor this afternoon and leads us off tonight. Lou?
Julie and Rena, there were actually 2 investigations into Chief Brian O'Hara regarding alleged inappropriate sexual relationships with subordinates. That first investigation ended up being unfounded. Then Mayor Frye pledged his support, and then the second probe revealed that O'Hara, as Frye put it, was interfering with the first investigation.
Chief O'Hara is the right leader for this particular moment in our city.
In 3 short weeks, Mayor Jacob Frye went from announcing he...
So clearly what happened is the moment changed. He no longer became the person that fitted that moment, and so now they're just tossing him aside. He's fulfilled his
Brian O'Hara
purpose.
for another term as Minneapolis police chief to giving him an ultimatum: resign or potentially be fired.
The decision that I made was not hard because when there is a breach of public trust, when there is a violation of an investigation itself, and the chief is the one charged with investigating other crimes, it's necessary to take action.
What changed between then and now? Because this investigation was ongoing at that time.
We did not know then what we do know now.
Mayor Frye says he ordered an investigation last year into an anonymous complaint that O'Hara was having sexual relationships with subordinates. That investigation closed with the allegations unfounded.
That doesn't mean that it didn't happen. That means that they did not have adequate proof or evidence to show by the preponderance of the evidence that it in fact happened.
In December, Frye ordered a second investigation into O'Hara tampering with the first investigation. And before it was completed, Frye announced O'Hara's reappointment earlier this month.
To make decisions based on rumor would be making decisions based on optics. And that's neither responsible nor is it a smart decision for safety. Had I known then what I know now, there would not have been a reappointment.
The public reports say O'Hara's story changed about
I
whether
agree
he had
with that.
texted one of the women he's accused of an inappropriate relationship with. And when he turned over his phone to investigators, he first deleted her contact.
Trust is not just part of the job, that is the job. And so when trust has been violated, it was essential to make a call. And like I said, this was certainly a painful decision, but it was not a hard one.
And I have confirmed that Brian O'Hara is no longer in the
there
city
you
of
go.
Minneapolis. In fact, he's not in the state of Minnesota. He is on his way back to his home state of New Jersey. His attorney sent me a statement that says, in part, during his tenure, crime has decreased dramatically. In 2019, the city had 890 officers. When the chief was hired in 2022, it was roughly 560.
I guess it's where I say it. I don't know why you say
the officers. It is now 643 officers and growing in quantity, quality, and diversity. The chief also made significant progress in rebuilding community trust and pride within the
See, I don't know if I would be happy about these numbers. You went from 890 to 560 in 3 years? The chief was hired in 2022. And from 2022 to 2026 is 4 years, and he's only grown it by 640 people? It's not a lot. It's what, 80? 83? But then still gets in front of the camera and says, we don't have enough people.
ranks of MPD. The circumstances of Chief O'Hara's departure should not define his service. Back to you.
Hilarious. Absolutely hilarious. Okay? So this woke police chief, he ended up losing his job after Jacob Frey turned on him due to these allegations of inappropriate sexual misconduct in work, right? So this guy debased himself as a police officer, did all that groveling, did all that boohoo whining crying, throwing
because he actually did it.
ICE under the bus, throwing federal law enforcement under the bus.
Supposedly he actually did it.
With ICE, not sending his officers to help with ICE, being ran out of the city by far left woke extremists, right? This guy brought shame to policing in Minneapolis, and he did it on behalf of the Democrat Party just for the Democrats to sack him at the first chance they get, right? The first chance they get.
Makes you wonder why they didn't do a better background check. I guess it was recent. I guess I wouldn't have known.
He deleted the contact, right? He interfered, right? Which, I mean, I guess that counts as interference. But Jacob Frey is also getting backlash because this guy seemed to be involved in the cover-up because he basically renominated this individual while he was under investigation and didn't tell the city council about it until the resignation came out, right? So this,
I mean, I don't know how long they were having this affair. I don't know how long he was sleeping around.
This is why they're pissed off. It's just an all-around clown show in Minneapolis.
Not that it matters, but depending on when it started, he may or may not have known.
Minnesota, to be honest with you, okay? It's just an all-around clown show. I think that, again, this guy was a part of it, and that's why I just find this story to be interesting, how this dude is fleeing the state after being fired, okay? Again, despite all that groveling to the mob, right, all that appeasement, yeah, they certainly did not give him the benefit of the doubt when it came to this situation.
Well, no, but that's what happens when you're in with a group of people who don't actually see you as a person, but as a pawn or a tool or something to use.
So
they don't
he's out,
value you
Minneapolis,
outside of what you can contribute.
Get a woker police chief, and it'll still continue to go downhill, right? It's still not going to get any better. But let me know what you guys think. Make sure you like, comment.
I don't know. Excuse me. Sorry. That one thing said that crime was down. Hold on, go back. During his tenure, crime has decreased dramatically. In 2019, the city had roughly 890 officers. When the chief was hired in 2022, it was roughly 560 officers. It is now 463 officers and growing in quantity, quality, and diversity. So, if crime decreased, even though he had fewer officers, decreased dramatically, then he had enough officers the whole time because he was able to decrease crime dramatically. So why was he saying that he didn't have enough officers? He did have enough officers. In fact, he had so many officers that crime actually decreased somehow. He didn't need more. What did having more do? I don't think I understand this. He lost a whole bunch of officers before he got in, but somehow under his leadership he was able to decrease crime. But even though he was decreasing crime, which would mean that he wouldn't need more police officers because there were less crimes to respond to, he hired on more police officers? I don't know. I don't think I get it.